Hello everybody, welcome back to another vlog. I am kind of ready to be doing a little bit more at the moment. I've gone back to work after being off work for about 6 weeks in total. It ended up being, so hadn't been at work for what felt like actually quite a while, and started back on Monday on a very slow phased return, so like literally 25% of my hours, so 3 days, worked 3 days and only a few hours for each of the days, and then I'm slowly building it up. So next week is a little bit more. I wasn't sure how tired I would be and whether I would be quite unwell after being back at work this week, but I think I have paced fairly successfully, tried to kind of implement some really good and important small habits just to keep myself well as much as possible. So yeah, that's kind of it. Right now I'm just gonna make a cup of tea. Look at this really gorgeous mug that Hannah bought me. I think she got it in France. Isn't it so beautiful? What else is there to catch you up on? Not loads, to be honest. Oh my god, okay, yes, there is something to catch you up on, which is that our landlord has finally given us approval to have a cat, which is something that I have personally wanted for my whole life. Basically, it's been most of the journey, or like the first half of the journey, was really to convince Ben, because he's really not like a pet person. He never really had pets growing up, or like the ones that he did, I don't think he really was that attached to. His family aren't really animal people. I've really put the graft in for like the last 5 years, I would say, of our relationship, just letting him know that, you know, I'm gonna want a cat one day, I need you to get on board with that, and he's never really been on board with it until that cat, who we now know is called Tim, until Tim started visiting. And I just really had this like feeling about Tim, right, that he was the cat sent by our future cat to let Ben know that he could open himself up to maybe having a cat, and like to show him what life with a cat could look like. And guys, I'm not joking, that is genuinely what I said right at the beginning when Tim started visiting and Ben started to kind of open up a little bit to, like, you know, he would be like, oh, where's Tim today? Like, he'd be kind of looking out for him. Yeah, a few months ago, Ben was like, yeah, I think I'm ready. I think we can say, like, yes, let's do it. So we kind of were waiting till the end of the summer, until like we weren't traveling anymore. We were just kind of going to settle in for the winter. Would be a good time to adopt a cat. I'm trying not to feel too rushed or anything, and trying not to feel too overwhelmed or too like it needs to happen immediately, because I really think with stuff like this, it's not just something for now, it's something that's going to be, hopefully this cat will be with us for the next 10 years plus. and this is not just a decision to be made like that. It's something I take really seriously, and it's something that needs to be the right thing. So I'm very much like, the right thing will come along. It's okay if it takes a little bit of time. I'm gonna take my cup of tea and sit with a book now for a little bit. Ben is out playing football, so I have the flat to myself for a little bit so I can get cozy. So this week we are house and dog sitting for some family friends of ours, and it's been about 5 days. I'm just making sure that he eats his medicine. Oh, bless him. Come on, my love. Yeah. Okay. You just lie there. Yeah, so we're looking after some dogs, 2 dogs, for some friends of ours, and yeah, we're working from here. They have a very beautiful home. I used to live here when I first moved back to London after uni. I was a lodger with them for 6 months. It's a very familiar home to me, which is lovely but also quite strange because it was like 4 years ago that I lived here, and it's very weird to be back. They live in an area which is quite close to like Ben's family and a few of our friends, so it's like I've been hosting a lot, I've been seeing a lot of people. They've been coming here because it's such a beautiful house, like so gorgeous to host here. So that's been really nice without having to like really go anywhere. Yeah, it's been my 2nd week on phased return. I just finished that today and it's going well. I think the pace is quite good for me. Things aren't going backwards, I don't think, which is good, but it's all quite high maintenance, like making sure that I stay well throughout the day. I've started a new medication quite recently for my POTS, which I think is actually really helping and really doing something, but I have to take it 3 times a day, and the side effects of it can be a bit weird if I don't pay attention. So yeah, work's going okay and I feel okay, but it is all taking quite a lot of management to feel okay. And I know that I definitely feel kind of on the edge of not okay if I don't stick to my things. I have actually in the past filmed like a Q&A all about how I deal with my chronic illness at work, and I think granted that was probably filmed about 2 or 3 years ago, but I think most of it will still be relevant, so I will actually link that if you do watch it and you have any other questions, or if there's anything you want me to kind of discuss, or we can talk about it in the comments too. Let me know. I've been reading The Master and Margarita, which is really good. I'm really enjoying it a lot. I've never really read anything like it before, and I don't even think I really knew what it was about before I went into it. I knew it was about the devil, but that was kind of as much as I knew. I didn't really know how like weird it was and how entertaining it is. So I'm really enjoying that. As someone who like grew up Christian, I find stuff like that just familiar in a way, like they're speaking the language that I know, kind of thing. There are a lot of characters though, and a lot of their names are quite difficult to remember, so there was a bit in the middle towards the end of part 1 where I kind of lost it a little bit, but now we're knowing all about Margarita and I flipping love her. She's so cool. I'm also listening to Braiding Sweetgrass, which is very beautiful, but it is quite long, so I'm just really taking my time with it. Walking the dogs, perfect time to listen to an audiobook, and particularly it's such a beautiful one to listen to when you're in nature, because it just
everything feels very coherent listening to that and being surrounded by the kind of things that she's talking about. I really loved the chapter that I just listened to about the 3 sisters and the 3 plants that grow together. I think it's corn and beans and one more, and I can't remember what it is. And she talks about the sibling dynamic of the oldest, middle and youngest, and how that's reflected in nature. And I love that so much as like the oldest of 3 siblings. Honestly, my favourite thing about summer is being able to dress in my pyjamas, aka just shorts and a t-shirt. Something is only pyjamas in the time that you're wearing it as pyjamas. When it's washed and clean, then you can decide again whether it's outside clothes or inside clothes. I think that's just a rule that I made up. Anyway, hello. It's Saturday. Last night was the first night on my own with the dogs, and it was fine. It was actually a lot smoother than what it was when Ben was here, because the dog was allowed on the bed, and I think that made actually quite a big difference. She did still wake me up at the absolute arse crack of dawn this morning, because that's when she needs her wee, and then she goes back to bed, and then she wakes up again around 7:30 to be fed. I have still managed to be able to go back to sleep like after the first wake up. I literally feel like I'm talking about a child. Look, I just know I don't want a dog. I just know. I do care about your dogs. I just don't love them like they're my own, so I think therefore my tolerance is a little bit less. But I still do, I'm like kind of an animal person. I do still love animals, so my tolerance is higher than Ben's, who actually doesn't like animals at all. I've just about managed to convince him to get a cat with me, and that's as far as it will go, I think. Okay, I'm just gonna put a tiny bit of makeup on just so I can feel a little bit more put together. So yeah, how are we all? I hope we're okay. I hope the back to school season is treating you well. I'm so sorry. Oh, and also I would really love to know from people who their favourite YouTubers are at the moment. I am really in a YouTube phase, and I just simply I'm just not subscribed to enough people to like fuel my habit. I'm trying to be on my phone less because it definitely makes me a lot more unwell. Especially because being on my phone is just hard to do without then getting into a bit of a scrolling hole. Sometimes it's okay as a little distraction, but I do find that more often than not it makes me feel worse, especially at the moment when I actually feel like I've got absolutely no self-control. That's quite frustrating. So I'm trying to do things that if I feel like I really need a distraction, I'm trying to pick things that won't make me feel so unwell. So like longer form content and things like that. If I do just want a kind of mind numbing situation, then, you know, longer form content which is still very aesthetically beautiful and inspires me in the same way that I kind of get from scrolling through beautiful pictures and beautiful videos. Yeah, so that's what I've been trying to do, but I just am simply not subscribed to enough people to keep up. So yeah, please let me know who your favourite people are. Wow, the hair is big. Oh my god, the new medication I'm on gives me really bad goosebumps all of the time, and if there's ever any just stimulation, for example sneezing, I just break out in goosebumps all over my body even though it's not cold. And I've just gone up a dose, so the side effects had settled down a little bit, but now they're back. But I'm hoping that they'll settle again. Right, well, for someone who's not feeling great, who would be able to tell?
Are you ready? Should we go downstairs? Should we go downstairs? Let's go. Come on then. Come on then. Let's go.
Hello, so I'm home now. I was dog sitting for quite a while, and it basically ended up that one of the dogs, who's quite old, was just not in the best space while I was there and needed quite a lot of care. So basically just didn't feel like I could really film. He's okay though, and the family's back and they're all safe and everyone's alive. But yeah, I'm home now and I'm so glad to be home. I really just like love being at home. I've been on a real like 90s noughties rom-com kick the last couple of days. I think there's something about this time of year that makes me just wanna watch as many Meg Ryan films as possible. When Harry Met Sally is one of my all-time favourite films. I think I can't tell you how many times I've watched that. So that's been seen. I watched Father of the Bride, the first and the second one, for the first time ever. I've never seen those films, which I really enjoyed them a lot. They're very, very sweet. Steve Martin really reminds me of my dad.
not in that film, but in general he really reminds me of my dad, so that was pretty sweet. That basketball montage in the first film, so cute. I've been having a great time, but I'm kind of running out of films to watch now, and I'm not reading as much as I want to be, so I had to put the remote down and pick my book up. I am currently reading Pond by Claire-Louise Bennett. I've had this on my shelf for really quite a while, but just haven't picked it up, and I think I didn't even really know what it was about, but I'm really enjoying it. I didn't even realise that it's actually a collection of short stories. I actually just finished the In the Garden collection of essays from Daunt Books, and I really loved that a lot. I really enjoyed that, and this feels like quite a nice, almost like a continuation of that, because it looks at quite similar themes of nature and being outside and kind of musings on life. There were definitely some essays that were better than others. I think with some, like, you can kind of tell what kind of writers people are, like who is used to writing in that way and who isn't, even though that they are all writers. And I got a lot of gardening tips as well. It's really like inspired me a lot for my garden next year. And speaking of which, I came back and my cosmos had just absolutely exploded in the garden. So I picked a bunch because the weather here is terrible now and we're not really going to be outside to be able to enjoy them. So I picked a bunch and I've displayed them there, and they're so gorgeous, and they've cross-pollinated. So there's a couple which are like pink and white. I'll insert a clip here of them, but yeah, really enjoy coming back. That's the one thing, it makes me anxious, but it also is quite exciting. I really look forward to coming home and seeing what's happened in my garden while I've been away. I finished The Master and Margarita, which was definitely really good. I did really enjoy it, but it was at times a little bit difficult to keep track of, and also the story took a lot of twists and turns. I feel like it didn't need to do that much. Like it did a lot, but I thought the writing was so funny and so witty, and that's exactly the kind of writing that I love. That's exactly the kind of book that I love. I felt relieved and achieved when I finished it, let's put it that way. I'm not going ham on the kind of autumn books just yet because I am going on a hot holiday in next week. Actually, I'm going away next week with my best friend, and so I've still got a couple of like beach read romps that I'm saving for that, and then when I come back it will be full on cozy season. But I am going to extend the summer slightly because she's a sad one, capital SAD. Hi guys, I am actually going to end the vlog here. I have absolutely no clue what's in this. It might be a real mishmash of things, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I have no idea what I'm saying, which is why I think it's good for me to end the vlog here so I can finish this one, start a new one, figure out what I'm doing next. I don't think I've actually done a little talking bit since Ben put me on their videos, but a thank you to everyone who subscribed who came from Ben, and thank you to everyone who's here in general. It's just really lovely. I really like having this space and I'm excited to make more videos, so yeah. Christ. Okay, that signals the end of this. Thank you for watching and I'll see you very soon.